Welcome to a special edition of Daily Airline News. It is now certain that the Azerbaijan Airlines E190 jet with 62 passengers and 5 crew aboard was shot down by Russian defence forces, possibly mistaking the aircraft for a Ukrainian one. But let's give you the details, the latest information. Most air defence missiles use a proximity explosion so as to inflict damage if the aircraft takes last-minute avoidance manoeuvres and increases the effective radius of the missile's destructive power. Vision that is now appearing on Twitter shows extensive damage to the rear fuselage of the E190, and vision from the interior also shows puncture marks. Quite possibly, the rudder and elevator control was lost after hydraulic fluid leaked. The Embraer E190 has 3 closed hydraulic loops, but they all end up going to the tail section, which shows extensive damage. Possibly the air defence recognised the error and detonated the missile themselves, but it was too late. Some also are blaming a lack of coordination between air traffic control centres at Grozny, Chechnya and Mkachla. The Azerbaijan Airlines Embraer was operating a flight from Baku in Azerbaijan to Grozny in Russia with 62 passengers and 5 crew. It had diverted from Grozny to Oktau, Kazakhstan due to weather, where the aircraft attempted an emergency landing on Aktau's runway 11 at 11:28 local time, about one after the aborted approach to Grozny. The aircraft was turning onto its final approach but impacted the ground about 3 kilometres from the runway. While the approach appeared to be somewhat normal before it plunged towards the ground, Flight Radar 24 data shows that the ground speed and the altitude of the Embraer E190 changed numerous times in the 74 minutes prior to impact at Aktau. Rescue services were able to find 29 people alive. 38 bodies were recovered, although these numbers are moving around. Kazakhstan's Vice Minister of Transport stated that the aircraft made 2 turns to the airport area after entering Kazakh airspace and hit the ground on the 3rd turn. Everything appeared reasonably normal before the sudden plunge to the ground. The rear of the Embraer behind the wing broke away and wasn't consumed by fire, and that is where all the survivors came from. Typically in an impact, the fuselage will break ahead and behind the wing box, which is the strongest part of an aircraft. The Embraer E190, which carries up to 90 passengers, has a good safety record, and there are about 1,700 in service around the world. Please subscribe to Airline News with Jeffrey Thomas. Please like us, please leave comments, we love to hear from you, and tune in tomorrow for another edition of Daily Airline News.